You can say the confidence is based on the fact that it seems to be a pre-election matter. It seems to be something that may not be admissible. But that's not the issue. In the Nigerian narrative, it's about the reputation of the country. It's about the behavior of our politicians. It's about get to the top by all means behavior, cutting corners to get power. It's about our electoral process. It's about the sanctity of elections in Nigeria. Yeah.
So for me, what this young man is doing at this point, bringing in the name of God, that God has ordained, God has done this. I think he's even deploying his energy in the wrong direction. But says, if he knows God this much and the capability of God, I think he should as well open a faith-based organization where he can teach people. He shouldn't deploy it in the political realm. Then what he's also doing is trying to whip up sentiment. We've told people, or I've said it here, let the courts decide what will happen. And what he's doing now is prejudicial. He's trying to see how he can divert attention or even take people's attention towards a particular. I've said it, let the court decide what will happen. Whoever is before a court of competent jurisdiction, nobody should start saying anything by taking side. He has already taken side, even from his statement, saying that let the president breathe. You should have also added that don't suffocate him.
I'm biased.
Yeah, so let the court decide what will happen and not this one he's doing. We know that it's a pre-election matter, but this is a case that they say let us test the judicial water. And at the end of the day, the truth will unveil. And once the truth unveils, it will serve as a deterrent. It will also serve as something that will put people in check in the future.
Okay. I've raised concern over people making utterances and positions that may be seen as prejudicial to what is before the court. What in our profession we call subjudice. That's what you call it in law too. So a lot of issues are raised. I'm sure you have your position as a lawyer on this matter.
Well, on the issue of certificate forgery, as regards our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Chicago State University, for me, those who are making so much weather about it are not being patriotic, because I think we are painting Nigeria in the bad light, because really it is our constitution that guides most of these things. If you have issues with Bola Ahmed Tinubu's qualification to run for the office of the president, it is not the man that you should be attacking. It is the enabling law that empowered the man to contest that you should be attacking. We have always been crying that our constitution needs a review. Our constitution has become obsolete. It's not in tandem with current and modern realities, but it's still the operating law as it is today. So if you speak against the president in that manner, you are actually casting aspersions as yourself and the country and Nigeria in general. If you note what is happening recently across the world now, every Nigerian who is traveling now is now being subjected to
further scrutiny.
Yes, all manner of undue scrutiny. In fact, those who are even working abroad now, I'm told that, like in UK, especially the nurses, the management of most of those hospitals, they want to review qualification and certification of those nurses because of the kind of media reports coming out of even from our own country ourselves. So I think this thing is doing more damage to us than I think is intended. It may look like an attack to whittle down the powers of president because people generally maybe dislike the man as a president and don't want him to be their president. But at the end of the day, it's like pointing one finger at one person and then the other four pointing back at you. The effect of this kind of media hype is adversely affecting everybody, especially those of our people who are living and working in the diaspora. You know, the attention on our people is becoming too much. And I think the media journalists have to tone down on this. But to come back to the nitty-gritty, I have discussed this issue in so many fora as to the issue of qualification of people who intend to vie for offices, elective offices in Nigeria. If you look at section 131, to be precise, paragraph D, it tells you the limit of the academic requirements to contest for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the words are not ambiguous. It's very clear. It says the person ought to have been educated up to a school certificate level. Now, you may think that that school certificate level is secondary school certificate or university degree or stuff like that. That is what anybody who has not exposed himself to the Constitution will imagine. But if you go to the interpretation section, which is section 138 of the same Constitution, it defines the meaning of the phrase school certificate.
It's standard 6.
It liberalizes the definition, tells you that even if I just going to a primary school without even obtaining the first school leaving certificate, the fact that you even went to primary school qualifies you to contest for the office of president, whether you came out with a certificate or not. You can show proof that you attended a primary school, and to make it worse, he didn't insist that it must be a primary school in the setting of a primary school or its equivalent. Its equivalent was not defined. It means that if you have attained any level of education at that level, whether formal or informal, in fact, I think the Electoral Act now says as long as you can communicate in English language to the extent where you can be understood and you understand, it's not that you must be able to speak English language perfectly. As long as you can communicate in such a manner that somebody will understand you, and when they speak it to you, you understand, it's enough. That is how low the law has made this thing to be. So I don't even understand why we are making so much fuss about it. During Buhari's time, this issue came up, that the man did not attend any school, all right? And the man didn't even bother to defend himself. Of course, probably he had lawyers around him who told him, look, this thing doesn't require your defense. You don't need all those plenty qualification. If you even see that definition, section 138, it even adds that even if you did not go through primary school and you have gone through formal, maybe like courses, you have worked in an establishment where you have gone for courses, and Buhari retired as a general in the Nigerian army.
And he has a training that is equivalent to even a master's degree.
What are we talking about? Let's even assume that Ahmed Bola Tinubu did not even attend school before he became governor of Lagos State. But he served in a public office for 8 years. Don't forget, before then, he was a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. At that level. So what other education, what other exposure do you want? The man speaks English fluently.
And has a lot upstairs.
And has a lot to offer. So what are we talking about? So, you see, Nigerians, we worship paper qualification, but our constitution thinks otherwise. Our constitution doesn't make it mandatory that you must possess paper qualification.
The only thing that is paramount is the moral issue, the moral question, the issue of integrity. Nigerians, because of our love for paper qualification, sometimes do a lot of things that are untoward.
Yeah.
And go out of their way to create, some kind of...
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Show me any provision of the law that tells you that a man who wants to be, even the provision of the Constitution that said if you belong to any cult group, you cannot contest for the office of governor and president and any of those elected. That provision has even been expunged from the Constitution. That is the only provision of the law that actually demanded moral uprightness.
Yes.